It's relatively early in the morning, and we're happy that we're all here to start our first faculty technology showcase. We know as the day goes on, we'll see more and more interested parties. For those of us who are here, many of us are ITAC and Media Vision, and we're ready for the day to begin. Our first presentation today is Molly Berger and Tom Nab, and we're happy we're all ready to hear what you have to say about the worldwide learning environment. So without further ado, please come on up and tell us what you have to say.
Good morning. We're really happy to be here to talk about this initiative in the College of Arts and Sciences. I'm speaking on behalf of I'm going to do the first half, and then Tom's going to tell you about the fun stuff, but also the third member of our team is Jill Corbin, who is Associate Dean in the College of Arts and Sciences. Oops. The Worldwide Learning Environment is a $205,000 grant that we got from the McGregor Fund, which is a foundation that specializes in funding liberal arts initiatives. The grant funds faculty projects that expand undergraduate and faculty participation in international learning experiences by broadening and enhancing the kinds of experiences available. So what we're trying to do is launch our students and enhance our undergraduate curriculum by linking our faculty with their colleagues that they have all around the world into new courses and programs that enable our students to collaborate either with other faculty or student peers around the world. It's not meant to fund travel, but travel can be part of different projects. And one of the things that McGregor told us was when they were considering our proposal was that they get a lot of proposals for study abroad, and that ours was really quite innovative in that we weren't really talking about the travel. We were trying to broaden our students' global reach by making use of the considerable resources that we have on campus in information and communication technology. And so what we're doing is recognizing both the need to help our students think globally and have cross-cultural and multicultural experiences, but also understanding that sometimes travel isn't possible either financially or because they don't have the time. In the college, I think we also feel incredibly blessed to have the talents of Tom Nab at our disposal because he's been instrumental in enabling our faculty to do the things that they plan. And this is what you're looking at is our website. So our project goal then is to expand undergraduate and faculty participation in international learning experiences. And the 4 keys for our faculty for a successful proposal is that they establish international collaborations, that they make use of advanced education and communication technologies, that they foster innovation in teaching and learning, and that they're structured so that they're sustainable both programmatically and financially. And all of these combined, what we're trying to avoid is having a one-off experience, a fabulous course that's offered once and you have all these resources that are levied on this course, and then you can't do it again because you've exhausted all your resources. And so one of the key things for any proposal to be successful is that it's either, you can either repeat it or that it serves as a first step to building a larger program. So our grants range in size between about $5,000 to $8,500. One of the things that we think distinguish this program is that we require all our faculty to attend a seminar before they can apply for the grant. And this is so that we can introduce the grant, we can answer questions, and our goal is to produce fundable proposals, and so we pretty much do a lot of hand-holding purposefully so that we get proposals that really are fundable instead of, tossing your hands up in the air and wondering why things aren't right. Our goal is to have some of these exciting projects that I'm going to talk to you about. One thing to keep in mind is that the kinds of activities that we fund are different from traditional distance learning formats. Our students are generally in a face-to-face classroom or in some kind of more traditional setting that we have here on campus, but they're interacting with both experts around the world and student peers around the world. The courses are both experiential and experimental. Our students are actively engaged in the activities rather than just sitting in a classroom watching a talking head on the screen. So far, we've funded 5 proposals, and these are a list of them. We've had a lot of fun with them. The first one, John Grabovski, had a course that he co-taught. He taught to students here in Case in our 6th floor classroom in Crawford, and he also had a classroom at Bill Kent University of graduate students. So our students were undergrads, the Turkish students were graduate students. And he taught a class on museums and archiving issues. And so both sets of students worked together on shared projects, and a couple of highlights, I guess, were that our students over spring break went to Turkey to meet their colleagues there, and in early fall, the Turkish students came here. And John's experience with the course really has been instrumental in helping us think about future grants, what can be done, what can be done optimally, what you have to compensate for, little things about how you place the camera in the room. I think it was that the Turkish students only saw the backs of heads. One group of students only saw the backs of heads because of the way the cameras were positioned, and so we've learned a lot through that experience. The laboratory course that Chris Cullis is teaching right now, Biology 301, is one that he's taught many times before. And when he talks about this course, it's the kind of thing really that makes your heart go pitter-pat, because for the first time, what he's doing is the students are working on DNA markers for certain bean plants in South Africa their hope is that they will be used to expand the food supply. And they've been working on this for several years, but this year, for the first time, Chris has been able to link up with his colleagues in Southern Africa. And so when the students were talking to both their research collaborators in South Africa, they actually understood the point of what their work was. And he said that he was just so gratified by the kind of engagement that the students had in their laboratory work, because the work that they were doing, they understood how important it was and what it meant to a good part of a continent in terms of their food supply. Mark Turner is doing a slightly different twist, where they've outfitted their presentation cart on the 6th floor of Crawford so that the students can engage with other students of Mark and Todd Oakley's peers around the world. I know they've connected to Denmark and to Brazil. And so the students have been talking to one another and working on projects together. And then the last 2 that are up there have not been implemented yet, but we do anticipate having students go to Cameroon and bringing in a visitor from the University of Buea with pre and post interactions before the visits. And Brian Grand, the last one, is doing a course on children's rights, which, as far as he can tell, is the first one in the country. And Brian's actively engaged, connected with UNICEF, and so he has collaborations with experts around the world that can talk about this really important issue in an international context. So you can see that these are the kinds of things, they're so exciting for us. This is a picture of our seminar, and the next one, Tom had connected with folks from Internetto as a demonstration. of video conferencing. A lot of our faculty have, more and more we have engaged in this sort of thing, but a lot of them have never really seen how this works. And so in another seminar, Tom himself was in Madison, Wisconsin, and he videoed in his part of the seminar, and that was kind of exciting for us too. This is a slide of Chris Cullis. Well, I guess Chris is over there, and you can see Tom behind him, and they're connecting to South Africa. And here's John Grabovski with his case students standing behind him and his Turkish students on the screen beyond. And finally, this is Mark Turner's. This is the Cognitive Science Suite, where the students are sitting in their cushy lounge chairs, connecting with the folks on the screen. I'm not sure where they were, but they've been doing a lot with Denmark and Brazil at this point. So in summary, what we're trying to do is enhance courses by introducing international experiences and perspectives, enabling case students to work with faculty and experts from around the world, and to collaborate on projects with students across the globe. Again, Tom's role in the Friedman Center has helped cross-fertilize some ideas that, we learned from what they're doing. They've picked up some things from what we're doing. And our hope is that as we get more experience with this, we'll be able to serve as both a model and an inspiration for other initiatives across campus. And so with that, I'm going to turn this over to Tom and let him talk about the fun things.
Good morning. Now that you know a little bit about our project, I'd like to let you know about some of the technical side of it, since this is the Faculty Technology Showcase. We do have partners in this endeavor. On campus, we're very lucky to be partnering, particularly with regard to the video conferences with ITAC Media Vision. We do a lot of video conferences, and it's wonderful to be able to work with that part of ITS to try to explore different models of use of the technologies we have on campus to be able to extend and expand on the kinds of educational activities that we can offer on campus to let people communicate globally. Another of our partners is the Internetto consortium. Case Western Reserve is a member of the Internetto consortium. That has about 207 institutions of higher education in the country, and about another 100 affiliate members and about another 100 corporate members. Since the university has invested in that network, we're trying to use that for some of the higher speed internet-based video conferencing. Internetto has regular partner programs listed there as international partner programs, where they have formal partnerships with different networks, peering networks. And then they are also a great platform for the human and social kind of networking. They have an international task force that gathers people together from all around the world during their meetings, member meetings. So in addition to learning about the technical side of it and seeing the networks that can be connected to, we can actually meet a lot of the people who coordinate what are called RENs, Research and Education Networks, in different countries around the world. And so we're making a lot of contacts there. So if we get stuck in trying to connect to somewhere, chances are we have a friend that can help facilitate that connection. Again, just as one example of one of the partners we're working with, Internetto has formal partnerships with these different research and education networks around the world, in Europe, Africa, Middle East, South Asia, and others as you see listed there. These would be major networks that would have good bandwidth. They usually have pretty good technical support, and it also offers the kind of less congested network that we need to be able to do some of the higher speed interactive things that we're trying to do. Regular commodity internet it doesn't work very well for rich interactive experiences. I guess these are actual partner organizations, and then there are peering networks around the world. Internetto is a network based in the United States, and we're also fortunate enough to have some capability now on the National Lambda Rail, which is an optical network that allows even higher speed activities. You can actually get a dedicated wavelength, have your own network if you had the need for that. And then Internetto can peer at high speeds to some of these other networks that are listed here around the world. A lot of what we've been doing so far has involved video conferencing, and I will go back and comment on some of the technologies we've used in the different projects to date. But we do want to make use of the rich palette of things that are available here on campus. Video conferencing is certainly one of them. Internet protocol video conferencing is called H.323. In some parts of the world, we still need to use some of the older, what are called ISDN analog lines. And I'm not sure quite if we call it video conferencing, but in certain places in Africa, we've actually started with even things like Skype video chat, where some of these places don't have much bandwidth yet. Some of these countries might have as much bandwidth as a grade school or high school in our country, and it's shared. So sometimes getting around the bandwidth issues and also issues of connecting from one place to another, given some of the technology that's in between with firewalls and what's called network address translation devices in there. Sometimes the video chat can even be helpful, at least in preparing for a higher quality video conference. With web conferencing, we hope to incorporate that very soon, again, with the help of ITS and ITAC. That would allow us to have a rich platform where not only would there be some desktop video conferencing, but we could share files, share desktops, do different kinds of presentations in a richer environment, and also record that so that someone could look at it later if they'd like to. That can bridge the kind of synchronous, everyone connected to one time of event with ones that could be viewed again later or have other materials up there. I mean, the video conferences can be recorded and saved as content also. Starting at a very basic level, we find that the students and certainly a lot of the other of us connect with just plain old internet protocol telephony, Skype or other sorts of IP telephony. It can be an inexpensive way for people to communicate around the world. We're finding that people are using wikis and blogs. Right now, no one's using an e-portfolio, but we can envision that sort of platform being of interest for sharing materials around the world. And then different ways of presenting video and audio over the internet are certainly of interest. We haven't been doing much of it lately, so far, but podcasting of audio and video or webcasting may come up later in the technology showcase here, but we have a great webcasting platform called Case TV, so we intend to take advantage of that. Then there are other platforms such as an interactive 3D world like Second Life, and we're in Second Life right now. So we see possibilities there for these tools being used to help support this worldwide learning environment. And what we're looking for is faculty to try to articulate with whom they'd like to connect around the world and some of the ways that they would like to have those interactions unfold, and then we try to work with them about the technology that we can make available and try to integrate into what they're doing. Just to go back over some of the specific projects, this is the larger picture there shows what Molly was referring to as a presentation cart. Again, in terms of collaborations on the technical side, that was largely designed by Palmer Chin, and it's a wonderful combination of a lot of the features in a level 2 classroom plus video conferencing capability in this particular cart. The department had the cart. The Worldwide Learning Environment grant helped to upgrade it to add video conferencing capability. And part of Mark's model was that in addition to being able to use the larger classrooms, which are level 3, and he does use the one Crawford 618 for having guest lecturers participate in his class, part of his model was to offer some decentralized connectivity possibilities by having this cart be video conferencing enabled, and then make that cart available for students to use whenever they would like. The idea is that once relationships are developed, either when a guest presenter presents, they might be able to follow up and talk with that person further, whereas they might not have the opportunity usually. Or they also want to have peer-to-peer relationships where students can talk with other students, work in research groups with them, or just learn more about what's going on in their discipline, in different parts of the world. And as Molly mentioned, right now a lot of the activity is going to Denmark and Brazil, and I know they also have plans to connect to some places in China. So again, in terms of model, this is a decentralized one where they want to be able to do ad hoc calling. In the near future, hopefully even ad hoc multi-point calling. Again, it's on the network, so there's no incremental connection costs. And that is meant to complement what can happen in some of the larger classrooms, which are wonderful, but sometimes can be hard to book. Particularly hard to book because sometimes you get into odd scheduling with the different time zones around the world. In John Grabovski's case, he had a threefold approach. One was kind of a more conventional distance learning approach where the classes that were in Crawford Hall Room 618, a nice new technology-enhanced classroom, level 3, were connected to a facility in Turkey on a regular basis. So the classes here involved students in Turkey. They were enrolled in the class and participated in the class, twice a week. He did have a couple of guest lecturers present from Turkey, but mostly it was extending the class through the classroom there, making this making that technology-enhanced classroom, a global portal to the rest of the world. But again, since some of these rooms are hard to book, he also wanted to have what he was calling virtual office hours. So we set up a desktop computer with the Polycom software that runs on that H.323 standard. And we also loaned the people in Turkey a laptop that was set up with a webcam, the Polycom software. They put it in their library so it would be accessible to students. And then he could meet with the students in Turkey from his office on a good video conference platform without having to book a large classroom to do that. We also bought, through the grant, a laptop similarly equipped for use on campus by our students, so that, again, he wanted the student experience to be as similar as possible to what it would be if they were on campus, to have the students have the capability to meet, to work on projects, to talk about things that they're interested in, and again, not necessarily have to use one of the larger classrooms. We just kind of scratched the surface on that one. The virtual office hours worked extremely well, and John did a lot of those. In the case of Chris Cullis and the biology connections, that was going into Namibia and South Africa in such a way that we could only connect to them by the older ISDN lines, Integrated Services Digital Network lines. That can get pretty tricky. Again, we got great help from Dwayne and Palmer and the other guys in the ITAC crew there, the MediaVision crew. So that was a situation where we had a bridge in South Africa to connect us by ISDN lines. That's very expensive, but is at least a preliminary way to make the contact with the people that are over there and foster the kind of engagement that Professor Cullis was seeing or hoping to engage. That was the way to go for certain, brief class periods. We had several class connections that way. So again, we hope to use a broader range of technologies. We're glad to partner with those around campus. And again, in terms of local collaborations, we've been working hand in hand, with ITAC. I certainly like to thank Mike Cubitt for that help. And we look forward to incorporating more of the technologies that are on campus or adding ones, as we move forward here. We're trying to find some models for interacting, in a global world where global communication and collaboration are two of the characteristics of a lot of the projects that are currently going on, and certainly ones that are, it's just part of the world that the students will be living in, to have a good experience and have some familiarity with some of the global communication tools that are available. So thank you for your attention. With that, I'll just see if there might be any questions.
In terms of these grants that you're
Okay, so the question is, how does the grant process and timing work? And I'll let Molly Berger answer that.
The grant is 3 years long, and so we're in the second year. And so last year we had 3 seminars. We had one in fall, spring, and in the summer. There's one grant deadline per semester. This semester we held 2 in the early fall. The proposals are due November 26th. We'll award them in the middle of December. And then we'll hold 2 more seminars in the spring with an April due date. And then we'll do the same thing the following year. And so hopefully by the end of the 3-year period, our goal is to perhaps have funded maybe 20 proposals, and with the underlying premise that they have to be sustainable in some way. We're hoping that these will be ongoing initiatives. So our history on this is we had a McGregor grant in the late 90s that took our faculty into the university circle institutions, and as you know, that's been institutionalized in the SAGES program, and so we're hoping for the same kind of success with this that we saw with that. Any other questions?
Okay. Thank you very much.